Đây gì nữa?
Cái gì vậy?
Tôi can viết.
Okay. So, okay, I'll review homework a little bit, and then okay. Whoops, clicked on the wrong link. Which one do we want to review? We go with each one. 5.1. Okay, I'll just pick any in here. This one is it okay? Shake your head, please, if it's not okay. It's only maybe. Yeah, so Phương, is this one okay? So I give 3 exercises, and then someone work on this task, and I said too many exercises. So I'm like, no, this is not much, right? This is 2 sentences. So see, that's not too many. Simple. You have this flower, and you can do this plus. That's great. When you compare the flowers, I think most of us know how to do it when this method is not inside any class, right? It's outside. So we need to have 2 arguments. So you can compare them. You can, if you return a string without puts, then you can use put down here. If you use puts, it's okay. In the compare method, in this case, you can just print it. So here how print something is expensive, right? But I don't think this is correct. Flower 2 is expensive, right? Oh, I see. No, this is good. So it's more, okay, it's cheaper. Okay, I think it's fine. I just need 1. And then if flower, so try, please don't add a space here, okay? This is, you need to delete the space after. Never have space after the variable name, and then, well, method name. After method, you have the parenthesis. After this variable, it's a hash, so remove the space, okay? Okay, it's great. So thanks for doing this early, and then so I just do one more thing here. I remind, right? Reminder, no space after hash variable name, right? Okay, let's get the next one. Oh, I cannot see the back button. All right. And exercise, oh, this website is terrible. We'll convert that into a class experience. And I'll just click on this one. Now, remember the hash, but now we use a class, right? And by now you know this is called a reader. This is a reader. Sometimes you write by passing the values into a class. Yeah? This is called passing the value into the class. Okay, so what do we have here? You define the writer for price and reader for price. You see that now you can use instance variable to get the name, and so remember in the previous exercise you have this open flower 1, flower 2, right? But here you don't need that. Remember the previous exercise? There's a flower to sentence and then flower. But here you don't need that variable name. So let me just open that very quickly. To sentence flower. You see the difference? Okay. But this is a method outside. So to sentence here is inside. So you have name and color, right? Okay, so then when you compare, then you only need to compare with someone else. You don't need to compare with Here, when you compare, you have to pass in two arguments, flower 1 and flower 2, right? In this method, you have first flower and second flower. When you use it, you can use it on any flower outside. Do not put my flower, your flower inside this method. Same here. Do not put my flower, your flower in here, right? Okay, great. So now you see you can compare my price. Compare is a method of this flower. So you can do self.price. I did not really teach that. You can also just call price. It's the same. You can do account price, right? This at price. We learned that because I have it here, I can use it over here. So you can have at price lesser than another flower dot price. But you see another flower dot price here. That's why it makes sense to also think, what if I need to get my own price method? Then I use self dot price, right? You cannot use at price in from this another flower. It's hidden, right? So that's why you need this dot price. That's called a reader. So basically, this line 4 something here. Oh, this TV ain't going to fix it. But this.
Hold command, you can press left on the keyboard to go back. Hold command and press left on the arrows.
Command left.
Yeah, and then hit left. It might be control.
To resize the window?
Oh no, my bad. I think you can go back.
No. I'm resizing the window. So thanks though. So this line 34 is very important to understand that this price and this price, they are the methods defined in line 25. Now I need someone to shake your head, please. No? Oh, nodding? So it's good, right? So we kind of understand now, you can compare age, compare price and stuff. So you see this is returning a string. This is good. Because later I can just say puts, right? Not compare. Where is it? Here. Okay? So you can, when you call this my flower inside there, self.price is, my flower.price. Right, so review this if you're not clear. There's any question about compare? Any question? If you know, can you say no?
Can self.price right there be at? You said it could be just at price.
Yeah, then you just use this directly. Right? Some people like to do this, and some people don't. But when you become better, I will advise that, just use the method. But it's okay. You can use at price or here. Okay? From the outside, you can only use dot price. But inside, you can do self.price or just price or at price. You see there are 3 ways to do it. Okay? Alright. Don't be shy really. Like if anything is not clear here, please shake your head and I will, do a better job explaining. Okay, so I purposely put something in here that looks funny. Does anyone want to try? Tihong, what is this on the right hand side here? What is this line I highlight here? Space equal.
No space.
So what is this thing?
Array.
Okay, great. An array with how many elements?
Many elements inside.
How many? So
2.
2? The left and the right? This is an array. Right? This is an array. If you don't believe me. So how many elements? You can ask. How many?
2.
Why 2? So this is, if you have a bouquet, or bouquet, I don't know.
We have
If you have a
many.
bouquet, you don't have any flowers. Maybe if I don't give you any flowers, your bouquet is empty.
Oh.
Okay?
No.
So this means, if you just say bouquet.new, then you will you just take the value of flowers here is empty array. Okay, this is called default value, right, for the argument. Default. Phương, what's default? Huh? Default, you know? Does anyone know what default is? Okay. So now, very normal, but here, are you sure you do it this way? Now, my comment will be, don't use this here. You should use. So if you do this, right, bouquet.new, great, then you have no flowers. But what if I want to start a bouquet with 2 flowers already?
You forget those flowers.
Yeah, in this case you just forget. So I give you 2 flowers and you don't take them. So in this case, you know, yeah, so you're wasting flowers. So down here, let's say if I add a flower to my bouquet, I have this internal variable called, it's called instance variables. And then I can add the flower to it. You don't have to add a name. You can add the whole flower. Right? So don't need the name here. Okay? So this is good. This is Phương, what is this method? Is it a reader or a writer? Just say between 50% correct. Just say something. Is it a reader or a writer? Oh, I don't know. Okay. So when it's a writer, you see an equal sign. What is it trying to do? It's trying to get the value of the number of flowers I have, right? Jiho, is it a reader or a writer?
Reader.
Great. So where is a writer? Where's the writer?
Prime value.
Okay. Phương, is it a reader or a writer? Great. Why is it a writer? Okay. And what does this method do? It assign the value number, the price to this variable. So because you write, so then you can do dot price like this, right? You can do dot price and you can set it. Okay? So how do we calculate the total price of the bouquet? The reason why your code did not work is because your flowers is a list of name. So inside you only store a list. When I say list and array, they are the same thing. Okay? So an array of names. So when you try to get the price, you already take all the price tag off. It's like, we go buy a lot of clothes, but now I don't have the price tag anymore. So I wear them, I don't know how much it costs. But if I keep the whole thing, flowers, right? So then when I say flowers dot each, then I can do flower dot price. Okay, try this again. Line 90. If I only do this, okay, don't do that name. Does it make sense now? No problem. You just say add flower.name, then this works. Right? And when you need to print it out, it will, this is just a flower object. So just like you can print, do flowers.each, and then that flower you can call to sentence to print it.
But how do we know that's have that man said.
How do you know?
How the bouquet, right? How to say
The bouquet.
the bouquet.
Uh-huh.
Yes, how that last snow, the flower had dog name on that dry man pot.
How do you know?
How do we know?
How does Ruby know?
Yes.
When you give it a flower. Okay, so I define this class bouquet, okay? Now I'm gonna call it something else like bucket, so it's easier to say. Okay? Now I need that define initialize flowers is
Right.
okay, let's say empty. Inside what do I do? Uh-oh, I can't do this right here, huh? So I need, let's do it here. Class, let's review this in real time. Class flower. Who can tell me how to write class flower? Def initialize. What is in here? Phương? Huh? Flower? Flower dot. So imagine when we done, right? We call flower dot new roses, and then we can say color like that. Remember that? So what do I put up here? Name and color. What do I put down here? Name at name equal name at color equal color. Even if you know this already, just try to come up with some questions to ask. Don't be afraid. Yeah, don't be shy. We all need to make mistake in class. So seems good. You can even say, well, if you never give me, this flower has cost 0. Right? You can do that if you want. So of course you can say, well, sometimes I might need to get the flower name. This is your question. How? That's how you do it. Flower.name. How you do price? Right? Same thing. Color. Okay. And one more for price. Right? Okay, Phương. This one is the setter or reader? Reader. So how do you do a setter? Writer. Price. What? Phương? How do I do a writer? Okay, great. New value. And then at price. What? Dot value? No. Equal value. Okay. So finally we can get to a bouquet part, right? Now I'm gonna call this a bucket of flower now. Okay. I will just say only flowers for now. I'm not gonna add anything else. Okay. So what should I do here? Equal flowers. Great. So when you add a flower, okay, notice this is a new flower I'm adding. How do I add the flowers? What should change? Yeah, what will change? When I add the flowers, what will change? What will change? This one, right? This is the number of flowers I have. And then I'm adding a flower. So what do I do? It's an array, remember? 1, 2, 3. If you want to add 4 to it, do you remember this? Yeah? Remember first day? Or you can also push to it. Okay? You cannot do this. Why? It would say a number and an array cannot be added together. Okay? So this is a flowers. So I can add flower to an array this way. Is that okay? So Phương, question. If I have a bucket with 0 flowers, like that, I have this, I name it bucket. I have the flower up here. I have it named rose. Okay? Then down here, remember rows there? How do I add the rows to my bucket? How do I add the rows to my bucket? Bucket?
Put row in array.
Huh?
Put row inside array.
Yeah. So dot add. And what do you put in there?
Rows.
Huh? Rows. Right?
No.
This line 38, when you run this line, it will go to line 32 here, and flower here becomes rows, and that rows will be added here. Does it make sense?
Row inside. What is the name?
No, this is the name here.
Um,
This rows now is the whole flower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Rows here is the whole flower.
Mm.
Okay? So how do you add violet? Look, this is bucket. Inside bucket there is a flowers thing here, and that is an array. You see that array? And there's only one flower here.
Mm.
Okay? How do I add violet to it? I can add another one called violet.
Mm.
Because how you say, right? Oh, you need to be like this, right? Well, violet here is a flower. So you have to define violet first. Violet equals what?
Flower dot new.
Flower dot new. What is in here?
Violet.
What is the second?
Blue.
Blue. Right? So then I add, and then I type the word bucket here so you see the result. So now you see inside bucket, there's flowers here, and then there are two flowers. This is one flower, and this is a second flower. Yeah?
Mm.
Does it make sense? Now, if I have this bucket, I want to say bucket.flowers. Does it work? Lord, does it work?
No, because you don't have flowers defined in bucket.
But flowers here, no?
No, I think you have to have a reader method, right?
Yeah. What if I press enter? What happened? If I run this,
Undefined method.
it will just cry. Okay, silently. Okay, it's undefined method flowers. So how do I fix that? Okay, if you know what you need, you define flowers. All right, Phương, tell me what should I put in here? Add flowers. Fantastic. So if I run this now, and I say bucket, Alright, it's very slow. I don't know why. Maybe this season the flowers are not doing well.
Sharks.
Yeah, the sharks. The sharks are hurting the flowers. I'm going to change the Wi-Fi network. Alright, and then I have bucket.flowers. Are you ready? Bucket.flowers. What do you get? Huh? Phương? Do you get an array or do you have one flower? Array? I was waiting for you because
Everything.
I wait for the internet. Yeah?
I was going to say you get everything after bucket up there.
Yeah, exactly. What Lloyd just said. Dot flowers will give you this. Is that clear? But it's a little slow. Give it a minute. Right. Today we don't need the computer to be too fast. We can just put it there and then start thinking. Despacito. Alright, so Any questions about the flowers thing? So now let's print out total price. Okay, yeah, you wanna try? What is the total price?
Total.
Let's speak in English. What is the total price of a bucket?
On the inside.
Yeah, all the flowers inside. So if only Ruby can understand English, it's like sum of all flowers price. Yeah, that's the English way. What's the Ruby way?
Total price.
Okay, so maybe total is 0 at first. Right? I go into each flower. So how do you go into each flowers, Phương?
Total
Flowers dot each and then okay, do, and then inside we have each flower. Okay, what do we do next?
Flower.
Here, there's only one flower now. Right, what's inside here, Hồng? We want to count.
Total.
Okay, equal
Cover.
total plus price. But where's the price? This is a bucket. If you say price here, it doesn't know who's. So what do we do? What price? Phương? Flower dot price. Does that make sense? You can even say adding cost of flower dot name. Right? If you want to make it very clear, the puts just to make it clear. Okay? And then you have end here. And don't forget the last line in this method. You put total. Phương, why do I put this total here? This is the last one so that total price will return this value. Last line is the same as seeing return. It will end the method with this total. Okay? So if we try it, no change to save. I can't even run. Alright. We'll try it here. Oh. Okay. We probably need to refresh. Look at our bucket. Our bucket, we start the bucket with how many flowers? Phil? We start the buckets with how many flowers? What is this thing? An array? Is it empty or is it full? Okay, so when I run this, bucket.flowers, how many flowers do I see in here? Fion, how many flowers do I see in here?
2.
2. So, if I say bucket.total price, what is the price total?
0, you need to make prices.
What's the total price?
21.
21? Do you see the price here?
0, yeah.
Oh, you're spending money.
Right.
Oh, Jiao was very rich today. So you see, it does this, adding cost of roses, adding cost of violet. It's explaining to you, okay? You can even debug it, right? You know, you can say in here, flowers dot price. And then when you run total, you will see that. So let's say now if I have today violet, rose dot price is 10, violet dot price is 11, then it back to the normal price. Chị Hồng is paying the right price, not ripped off anymore. We're back to Bến Thành market. Okay, so Do we know how to add flowers?
How can we do bucket, not flower, but it's just so many on it?
Sure. Great question. So maybe you shouldn't name it the flowers. You can define another method called flower names. Okay? Alright. You wanna try? How do you return just the names?
Add flowers, dog, math,
Hmm.
parrot.
Okay.
No, not parrot. What nhọn?
This one?
What nhọn?
This one? Ah,
Yes.
curly brace.
Curves.
And then? So
Which is-
let's call it a flowers in F.
Yes.
And then?
F dot name.
F dot name. And then? Let's try it. Flower names. Okay. Other people are like, what the hell am I looking at? Well, it's okay. We learned this in lesson 3. Lesson 4, right? So I have the flowers here. I map it inside. This is an array. I map it. And then this is going to be another array.
But how can the glass of bucket know that the flower have dot name or dot right method?
It doesn't need to know it. When it runs, it will do dot name.
Just know.
If you give bucket something else, it will crash and cry.
I don't think the bucket knows the name. It's because you gave the bucket a flower, and the flower knows its name. So you're asking for the bucket's flower, and then you ask the flower for its name. So the bucket really doesn't know the name.
Yes.
Any question? Try to come up with questions. So I think next time I write down. If you don't have any question, that person should buy food for dinner. Okay? I like the idea about bubble tea across the street. Okay?
Okay.
Alright, so you please, Lloyd, let's keep track of people. You have to ask question.
Okay, I'm fine.
Stupid question get 2 points. Bad question, good question get 1 point.
So I stupid questions.
Hey, it's not easy. Try to come up. It's not easy. Give me a stupid question right now.
What does that DEF mean?
See, it's not stupid because I don't know how to answer it. It's actually that's not a stupid question at all, right? What is DEF? What is that? Huh? Phương? Defined? So remember when you hear undefined, def, and then undefined. Remember? So if you type anything like this, undefined. So if you want this to pass, you either do this, and then after you type A again, then it's defined. Or you can define the function like hello is undefined, but if you do def hello, puts hello world and n. Not I just do it one line, and so now hello is defined. Okay? Alright. So I think we have another homework. I'm sorry, we don't have enough homework this week. Next time I'll give more homework, okay? Alright. This one is so easy, right? Or hard? I know, that's next time start homework earlier. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, I covered for those who did it already. Let's just try to come up with stupid question. Okay? Sorry, Lloyd, that question just now was not stupid.
What are you talking about?
That's such a great question. No, seriously. Alright. Example, a stupid question would be like this. Class person, like what's that word? How do you spell that word? Person. I'm like, that's a stupid question. Person. Alright, so we see this a lot. We see def name at name n, right? We see this def age at age n. And you're like, Ruby, can I not just use person dot at age? I want to get it out. No, don't do it. It's your thing, right? right? Okay, so this is the shorter way to do it. Look at the thing on the upside here. You see how many lines? See, just look here. Don't look at the screen. It's too distracting. Focus on this and ask stupid questions. So there's a shorter way. It's called ATTR. What is ATTR? I need this stupid question. Attribute. So something inside classy is called an attribute. That's quite a stupid name, but it's okay.
What's an attribute?
What's an attribute? I'm sorry, it's still not a stupid question.
Dictionary.
It's a stupid name. That's why we have to ask a stupid question.
No, I just want them to think about that.
Yeah, no. So we can't answer that yet, can we? What's an attribute?
An attribute is just something about us that's different for each person. So we all have an attribute, our first name. My first name attribute is Lai. Wee's first name attribute is Monster.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we all have other attributes. Our age, 29, 16.
Well, attribute is just an English word, right? What's its attribute of this phone? It's rectangular. Screen. So let's not delve too much on the technicality of the word, because the word just means like the attributes is that any adjective you have for me, like I am ugly, that's my attribute too. But in class, they just use this word. The problem is some other languages use other words, properties, things, right? So for now, an attribute is like what Loy say. It's something that tells you about that object. So name is an attribute. Age is an attribute. So this thing, attribute reader, it means you read out the attribute. But just look at this again. Okay? So no more def name, and you just write it like this. ATTR underscore reader. Okay? If you don't remember this, then what do? Do not cry. Do it here. Right? No problem. I do this all the time. It doesn't mean every time I do this, right? I do this because it's so easy to understand. I do this if it's so fast to type and I become familiar. It's like you go into the kitchen. What knife do you get out to cut your, cut your cake? Sometimes you get a big knife, sometimes you get a small knife. It's really up to you, okay? But if you really, you're sharing with someone else and you cannot use the big knife because that person needs to cut something else, so you have to use the small knife, okay? So you can even make it shorter than this by putting it on one line, but don't worry about it. And then you see that you can put like a colon name, colon age, so you can list out all the attributes. So attribute reader, that's why I remember last time I said, Phương, is it a reader or writer, right? Okay, so then there's a writer too. Okay, now let's look at, is there a writer here? Basically, this reader, Phương, if I don't write this, ATTR reader, right? If I don't write this, then what should I write? Instead of ATTR reader, language. Let's try guess. Let's guess. What is it trying to do? Read the language attribute, right? Okay, up here. Read the name attribute. What this line does is this is going to return the at language instance variable. Okay, so at name, at age. Yeah. But if you do add to the reader language, it will always be nothing, nil. Because I never set the language for this class. Remember? This programmer only have an age and name. So suddenly I say, well, reader. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's always empty. It's nil. So that's why I want something called writer. And writer is the same as writing. So basically, this is the same. I wrote up here. Oh, up here already. I wrote this is the same. When you guys see this, does it make sense?
Mm.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Phil? Okay, great. Writer is like this, and it's the same as this. Does it make sense?
Mm.
Okay. And then now you can do something like this, right? Me is a programmer, and me.language is this. Okay, because I have the writer. Language equal. Yeah. So your homework is to just write, these things as color, name, price, similar to before. Make sure you can try to write with shorter syntax. So you see now I don't have to do def flowers, and I write attr flowers because it will return this value. This line is the same as, remember this thing over here? Yeah, the flowers, okay? All right, it's time to move on to the class. Let's take a break and then I'll start. Feel free to ask questions if you have any right now.